Okay, today we're going to talk about major pentatonic flat thirds a little bit more in depth and do all 5 positions. Because before we talked about the major pentatonic flat third, and I talked about how it's an oxymoron, how can you have a major scale with a flat third, that doesn't make any sense, blah, blah, blah. But we also talked about it's the most awesome scale ever. Instant way to make you sound sort of jazzy, bluesy. It works over all the chords. It was just brilliant. So if I'm in the key of C, the way I taught you was to start on the 6th degree, and in this case, C, D, E, F, G, A. A. There's the 6. Right, we did that lick. I don't know if we did that in the key of C, but by this time you should have moved this around to a lot of different keys. So that is an awesome way to play it, starting on the A, G, then there's your flat third in the middle. 1, slide. I'm going to go with 2 this and then stretch 1 down to there. There's that flat third, slide, there's the flat third. So it's basically that scale, but when I get to the E notes, I'm flat 'em. I flat 'em. Flat. So it's basically just the My Girl sliding scale. You can jump up to the high octave, but usually I think when I taught the scale, I started on the 6th degree. And that's actually a pretty decent, easily done fingering. I could do the same thing down here, down an octave, I just run out of room a lot quicker. Right, and I have to go to that note, and then I'm out of room. So I could just do a little bit of it. Sorry, I put the E natural in there, can't help it. But on sliding pentatonics, there are always 2 of them, one off the 6th string and one off the 5th string. Well, I could do this one as well. I'm going to start on the E flat here. Cool. So I could start on the, well, let's just start on the C, just for the root, for the sake of root. C, A, G, right? And then this is the hard part where I'm going to roll here. Cool. C, A, G, E flat, D, C. So this is a little bit trickier in as much as that thing right there. That's always a little tricky. And then slide that down. So conceivably you would do 2 slides in a row. I'm not so crazy about that. I'm going to come back and do a pinky there, or a 3rd finger, doesn't matter. And then get the A note there, then slide. That's another fingering. We could also even talk about this. Pinky, slide, and don't slide until there. So I could, they're always the same notes, but just where I get them. Sometimes I'm getting the C here, sometimes I can get the C here. I could even start on the flat third, the E flat. Cool. So that's a good fingering. That's also a pretty good fingering. But for the sliding thing, let me show you this. I think I would do that. I'm not crazy about this double slide here. Right? Yeah. Unless I go something like that. And either slide there or stay in position. So that's more off of the 5th string. And you can start on this note, you can start on that 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 note. And then once again, it works over all the chords. So that's a good sliding position. One more time, just to review. C, 3rd finger on 10, 8, 1st finger, roll it, still on 8, sliding. Now I'm going to do something a little different here and get my pinky or my 3rd finger, depending how I feel about my pinky that day. 1st finger on the A, then slide it. I'm going to go with a 2 in the middle here, putting in the middle between these guys. D, and then slide that, pick it up 2 more notes, A, G, and then back to the root. So my ear hears this as a C lick, or a C7, or a C major lick. Okay. So 2 sliding positions. Or, and then to the C, right? Cool? But I also want to find my positions this way, where they're not sliding. The sliding scale, especially this one, I just love that scale because it's not hard to finger. This one's a little harder to finger. But the thing about this major pentatonic flat third is half of the position is going to be really cool and really useful, and the other half is going to be really awkward, for the most part. If I were to take a C major out of this shape, out of my A shape from the cage thing, right, that's an A chord, although it's a C chord now because I'm at the 3rd fret, this would be the scale starting on the G, even though it's not the C is the root, it would start below you, and it would be the symmetrical pentatonic. Right? That being the root, C. So in order to make this major pentatonic with a flat third, I've already got the major pentatonic. All I need is a flat third. So anytime I find an E note, I'm just going to flat it. So there we go. There's an E note. E flat. C, stretch down to the A, G. Now the next note would be E flat. But then I'm supposed to come back up to D and then hit C. So here, I don't think this is going to be a very wise fingering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the E flat note over here, and then my D falls a little easier. But this is going to be a little awkward. This is easy. That's great. Cool, that's really easy. But here, I'm going to go to the pinky, and then so that's another reason why I like the sliding scales, because I could avoid the pinky altogether. But not so in this. This half's real easy. This half's a little trickier. Cool. The next position would be starting from the A note, which actually looks like an A minor pentatonic. But if you start on C, it's my girl. And then again. Cool. So here's C, A, G. Now there's the E natural. So I could have gone, right? And then to the D, C. I could do all that, but I'm going to, rather than stretch and then sort of come back, I'm going to say stay here and roll that puppy. Now I might have used 3rd finger. Oops, I shouldn't slide, sorry. So here I'm going to go, I'll do fretwise. You can do this any fingerings you want to, I don't really care. 3, 1, I said I was going to do it fretwise. 8, 5, 8, and then I'm going to roll 8. So that's an 8, 8. And that's the difficult part. 8, 7, 5, 7, 5, 6. There's a flat third. 5, 8, 6, 8. Cool. So you can do this with your 3rd fingers. You might even do a lick like this. When I hit that note, then I slide it. Yes, I did just put that major 3rd back in there because I did a little G on the way up, even though it's on a C chord. The next position would be sort of an awkward one, but it really just falls right out of the major scale. So it's pretty easy for a lot of people to see. And this should be 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. And if you wanted to stay in position like Berkeley wants you to do, you'd go 2, 4, 2, 4. I wouldn't do that. I shift up between the dots here. Cool. Or I could just do the whole darn thing with 1 and 3, which we talked about on our pentatonic lessons at the Shredders. They love them some 2 fingers, just using 1 and 3 the whole time, so it's real consistent. So I've got to flat the 3rd. There's a flat 3rd, but then I have to come up to this G. Sorry, the F note's not in there, but it's in that song. So that's a little stretchy. Not that I don't know those notes and not that I can't play those, but I'm going to choose to play this E flat here. So I'll actually start with my first finger. Before I'd always start with my second, not always, I guess if I do it with 1 and 3 I don't start with my second finger, but here I'm going to go 1, 3, 4 finger wise. Only one note on that string, and that's another reason why this makes this a little awkward, is there's going to be 3 notes on this pentatonic and then 1 note here. And we're used to doing pentatonics 2 notes per string, so that's what's going to make some of these fingerings kind of odd. Rather than going down here and do it, I could do this 2 notes per string, but I don't think you want to. So I'm going to do C, D, E flat, G, up to A. Now that's a little bit of a stretch. A, C, D, and I'm going to probably take this finger up, or I could just finger it as well. And then I've got to roll, but if I go up, it's a little easier to roll. A, C, and I've got these 3 notes, because I wouldn't, it's not country roads. So that's probably how I would finger. Let's do that again real slow. 1 on the C, that's my root. 3, 1, roll, slide, pinky, first finger, third finger, which is a little bit of a shift since I was over here. That would technically be my pinky, but if I do it with my pinky, I got nothing to play this note. I could do that. I mean, you could take the literal, do this scale and just flat the third, but it's going to come up with some awkward fingerings, and I think once you get used to these, it's a little easier. Cool. Then the next pentatonic would start on the D note, and it should be 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, stretch 3, unstretch, 1, 4, 1, 3. That's how I usually finger it, although sometimes I take the pinky out and just do it all 1 and 3s. Once again, looking for the E note. So right, second note off the bat. D, E flat, G, A, C, D. Now the next note I was supposed to go to is E, but if I wanted to get to E flat, well I'd have to stretch down to there. So why don't I just get it here with my pinky and then go to G. And once again, I've got 3 notes here. Throw in the F note, but I just gotta do that song. So A, C, and then maybe I just can't help it but to slide that down. Just like when I usually did this major pentatonic, I just sort of slid it down, or if I did the major scale right there. It's just nice to resolve it, and it's just, resolution is just a whole step away, so why not? But, sorry, that note we're looking for. Cool. Fret-wise, 11, 10, 13, 10, 12, 13, 12, 10, 12, 10, and then straight to the 11, 10, and then just slide it home. Cool. Then the last one we'll study today is out of this C chord. Now this is the original pentatonic. So this one starts on the third. So I'd have to actually stretch to start this. There's a third too, because if I see that C major chord, it's my third, flat third. Yeah, a little variation to that. And then here, a couple interesting things. If I wanted to keep this real strict to just doing this with a flat third, well, if I got to here, I'd stretch to 11. This one goes to 11. It's almost like that Django lick with the... Sorry, I ain't got no dots. But if I start C, D, E flat, G, A, I'm gonna shift. So I get to this G with my third finger. So see, that's a minor shape. And then I go into the major shape. Then it's minor. Then it's major. Then here I have to stretch because I don't have another note. So I might not hit the E flat here, but I would have to hit it here if I want to hit anything, or maybe just ignore that note. Once again, once you add in slidings, you can even do more fingerings. I can slide that note and then slide it back down. Or I can hit them with, I can use pinkies, or not. Cool, so those are, once again, let's look at this a little quick. So that's a little clunky because I had to shift. This is great. That's a little clunky because I got to stretch. So once again, usually there's parts of these scales that are awesome and very practical, but then there's another part that's not because of this weird shifting around that we have to do. So that's why it's easier to play just the sliding scale. It goes like this, goes up and down. So just an absolute review, sliding scale, you could even start on C and then super slide down to A. Or you could start on the A. Or of course, even on that lesson we studied, you could start on any of those notes. In fact, I would recommend it. Because each time you start, when you start in a different place, it just puts your head in a different place. So it's that way you're really learning the notes and the scales and the sounds and not just muscle memory. Because muscle memory can be forgotten, or you can, especially when you're drunk. So don't rely on muscle memory. Rely on knowledge. The sliding pentatonic from here. Right? Or I could have started even higher. And gone even lower. And remember we talked about a different fingering I could end there. And so that one sort of ended in position. I started in this position and in this position. But the real sliding one would start in this position, then go to this position, then go to this position. So you sort of take the easy parts of each section. When we get to the starting our things in a row, here's one. Cool. And here's the next one. Here's the next one. And the next one. And then the last one, technically you start on E flat, I probably wouldn't. If I wanted to know to start on E flat, I'd start here. I'd probably start on the G, but I'm gonna put the E flat in there for you. Then G, A, C, and shift. Once again, I could have stayed in position. So I think it's valuable to know all that stuff. So learn it.